Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining our reading. We are going to do a reading with the deck Talking to Heaven. So, this is a Doreen Virtue deck. It is a 44 card deck. It is a great deck for someone who wants to connect to a loved one. The guidebook has the pictures of the cards and a really nice reading to go with those pictures. Nice print too. It's nice size print as well. I wanted to show you the cards just in case someone's never seen this deck and they're looking for a deck to be able to connect to um, a past loved one. So one of the things we have to remember when we are connecting to a past loved one is anytime you do the readings, first off, you always want to make sure you have like good intentions set because we live in a spiritual world with a lot of things that are unseen. So I always recommend putting the cards to your heart and asking for a message with love from that person. That way you're setting the intention for exactly who you would like to connect with. Um, you can also pull these with the intention of closure. So say somebody died and maybe you didn't have closure with that person. These are a great way of saying what you want, what you never had a chance to say, and then pulling a card to know like what the meaning or the recipient of the energy is. But these are really good for um, just connecting to our higher energies, beings, loved ones. Um, I am just going to do a card reading for someone, um, for for someone who wants to come in. If this resonates with you, then it would be for you. But if it doesn't resonate with you, then that's fine too. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. Okay. Sometimes whenever I do readings, there could be multiple messages. Like I can hear multiple messages come in. So usually whenever I use this deck, I only use it on one person. Uh, and I do the reading on them at a time. So like if there's 5 people that comment they'd like to have a reading, I do each reading separately. But for this one here, I'm just going to show you how the deck is used, and we're just going to do a general reading. If it resonates with you, then this reading is for you. Sometimes a loved one will come in, multiple loved ones will come in with an overall collective message. So I have noticed with this deck that sometimes you could do one reading and 5 people out of like 40 people would resonate, and that's because they're no different than we are. You know, when you turn on a song and you like it, that doesn't mean that that song's only going to play for you. There could be 100 other people out there that enjoys the same song. So it's kind of the same thing. Like sometimes they will come in because they have an overall message that they would like for us to be aware of and to share. So that's what this is today is we're just going to do an overall message for the collective just to see what they have to say as a general message, okay? If it pulls in stronger for you, if you get very emotional or you see an image or something that really pulls to you, then I would say this message is definitely a a person reaching out to you. But if it's just a calm message to you, but it doesn't really like pull to any strings, then it might just be a general message, or it could not necessarily like resonate for you, and this would just be a teaching video of how to use the deck. right? But you would know, you should know because you would feel it. You would definitely feel because when you use this deck and someone comes in that has passed, they're on such a different frequency that they're able to connect you emotionally. So usually people will have like an emotional response to the deck. If you hear a noise, I'm hoping my headphone drowns it out, but if you hear a noise, that's my pug. She likes to sit with me during my readings, and sometimes she makes a loud snorting sound. So, all right. So our first card is I always give you a kiss goodnight. Okay, so this person always makes sure that they are with you when you are resting. Maybe it's something that they always made sure they did before you went to sleep, or maybe it's something that they started doing once they passed because it was just their way to bless you to have a good night's sleep. But we are soulmates. So let me make this very clear with soulmates. Some people believe that soulmates means that you are um, man woman relationship, marriage. That's not necessarily true. Soulmates can be anything that connects to you for your highest good and resonates with you to help you navigate through these energies of earth and this lifetime. Soulmates can be brothers, sisters, animals. It's different than like a twin flame kind of relationship. Soulmates can be best friends. They can be mother daughter. Like it can be it's someone who truly feels like confirmation. It's someone who truly feels like home with you. You truly feel at home with this person. So that's what we call a soulmate. Okay. So I don't want you to think that this person is right away is a husband or a wife. That's not necessarily true. Okay. Soulmates are people that resonate with you on a very deep level. Sometimes they are not romantic relationships. Tears cleanse the soul. Okay, so this is them telling you that it is okay for you to cry. Maybe you feel like you shouldn't be crying anymore, that this should be something that's done and over with, and you should have processed it all by now, and you don't understand why you still feel emotional. I'm just going to relight this because I like to keep this going while I'm doing my readings. But this is Santo's wood. It just, you can use this, you can use sage, you can use incense. But anyways, tears cleanse the soul because when you cry, you're no different than a cloud releasing rain. Your tears hold emotions and frequency and codes. If you take a teardrop and look, if you take your tear and you collect them, say in a cup, and then you put that cup in the freezer and then you look at that cup under a microscope, you're going to see all different kinds of like snowflake designs because your tears are water and water is alive and it holds emotions and frequency. And so if you feel like you need to cry but you're like, no, I can't, I shouldn't, and you suppress those tears, what you're doing is you're suppressing those emotions. You're also allowing yourself not to release those emotions to heal and to transcend those feelings. So just because the person has been, maybe the person has passed or the animal has passed for a while, it doesn't mean that you have to stop your tears from falling. And it doesn't, those are ways of helping you to heal. And that doesn't mean that you're going to um, fall back into like a depression or anything by crying. Usually, whenever we cry, we always feel better afterwards, and it's because we're releasing those energies into the spiritual realm. Okay, if it what happens physical happens spiritual, and so the tears are a physical for the spiritual, and so they are telling you to the tears cleanse your soul, and it's okay to cry. Don't feel like it's wrong to cry. They don't want you to feel like it's like what you're doing is wrong and you should hold them back because that just isn't healthy for you. And this is also a message that they have received those messages. Every time you cry, they know they can feel it emotionally. They can feel it spiritually. So they they know that you have cried, and they know when you refuse to cry because they can feel that pullback. So they are telling you that it's okay to give in to those desires to cry when you feel like you need to. Remember me by the happy memories we created. Okay, so this person wants you to remember all of the good things that you have done with them. You know, and this could be in the picture, it shows a mother and a daughter. You know, it could be a child that's passed as well. But for some of you, it's this is a parent or a sister or a loved one that has passed that is coming in. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's a feminine energy. The picture just represents that it could be a family member or someone that you were close to. As a soul, I can be in several places at once. Right? So they can go to a unicorn is a higher realm. I remember in a meditation one time, oh, it was so real. The meditation was so real. I felt Joshua come in and he showed me, he didn't necessarily take me to the place, but he like showed me that there are many different places, not just Earth, but there's many different places. And this place was like another realm. It wasn't necessarily another, if it was another planet, it wasn't like we had to travel there. It was just like you had to raise your frequency to be there. And he showed me that that's where like the extinct animals, that's where they were. That's where the unicorn was. It was, and the dragons. I saw a bunch of dragons there too. And you know, sometimes people say that the unicorns and the dragons were taken from Earth because people were mistreating them. They didn't value their sacredness. They didn't value their worth. They didn't value how precious this animal was in their presence and what this animal carried frequency wise for their bodies and their healings. A lot of time we wonder, well, why do we age so quickly? And when in the Bible and stories, people lived to 300 and some years of age. But think about it this way, we all vibrate on frequencies. And so going through history, there's been a lot of death and destruction. And when you go through those kind of destructions, it lowers the frequency. It lowers the frequency of Mother Earth. It lowers the frequency of ourselves. And that lowered frequency can very easily shift you into a different life expectancy, a different life realm, path, however you want to explain it. So, the unicorn, this person is telling you that they are able to travel so many places now because they don't have the physical body that is being weighed down, and that they have been able to see the higher realms as well. And they've been able to see things that maybe they couldn't see when they were here. And this is a way of letting you know that the stuff that you have thought about, the prayers that you have made for them, that it they are okay, right? They are not. there's nothing to worry about with them. They are able to go to the place where the unicorns are, and that is such a beautiful place. Like I remember how just the energy alone was just breathtaking. Just being in that energy just made you just want to stay there forever. It just felt so safe and loving and balanced, you know. So that's what they're telling you with that one. I am not dead. Yeah, there you don't die in this lifetime. What you do is you transform, right? You might go back to where you came from. If you came from another higher realm, you might go back to that realm. If you're here from another solar system planet, you might go back there. If you died unexpectedly or tragically, maybe you're allowed to come back. I know there's stories where people remember dying in a war. There's a story where a young man died in a war and he never got married. He never had children. And he said that he remembered asking, can I please go back? Can I please have another chance? I didn't get to experience all these things because this happened to me. And he was granted that. He was allowed to go back. And he remembered his whole life as a child. He had nightmares and he drew airplanes. He's on YouTube if you look him up. He had nightmares, he drew airplanes, he kept his parents up at night. Like he was reliving all these terrors of his previous life and he couldn't figure out what was going on. And here to find out he remembered who he was and he remembered his sister, and his sister was still alive, but she was like in her 80s. And when they got them together, this little boy was like, I don't know how old he was, 6, 7, 8. He was able to tell her what she looked like as a child, what they did together, how they drew pictures, like rode bicycles together. Like she was just amazed that it was her brother, but he was so young. He was like a great grandchild for her. But he explained to her that he was allowed to come back, that he was allowed to live again. And it was so um maybe it was so rewarding for her too. It wasn't just for him. So sometimes things happen and there's a bigger picture. He helped her to prepare for her death at an old age, but he helped her to understand that there is life after death, and it's not something that she should fear. So like it was just a beautiful story. Oh, sorry, my dog hit the table. It was such a beautiful story to witness. And so like when when a person says when a person dies, we see them gone in the physical, but that doesn't mean that they're gone in the spiritual. Okay, so they're telling you now I have no pain. So maybe this person suffered from pain of some sort, and so now they don't have any pain. They are at rest, and there's nothing that is causing them to be unhappy, right? Okay, so I hope this resonated for you. And again, if it didn't, this might just be for you to see how to use the deck. Maybe this would be a great deck for you to pick to do your own reading with someone that wants to connect with you. Okay. All right. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful evening, day. Bye.